were on the trail, rangers were asking us if we had seen a missing person.
She looked at us, she's like, there's bodies in the creek or there's bodies in the river. She took me out of the adventure into like, oh, I'm in the woods with a bunch of meth heads.
I'm on a log, butt naked, in the woods, taking a shit. I look over to my left. There's a snake all propped up,
Just riding, and then out of nowhere, a bear comes right in front of me.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Brian.
I'm Brian.
And we today are talking about the TNGA. The TNGA is a
365-mile bike ride. It's the Trans North Georgia Adventure.
It has about 54,000 feet of climbing elevation gain across the entire North Georgia race.
Yeah, and you have to be crazy to do it, and I'm not sure if I would do it again, but we'll save that for the end of the episode.
Yeah, so just context of a race like this, right? Now, road bikers, they might do some elevation, some down, go 365 miles. What's the difference in the TNGA?
Right, so we've got some paved. I think it's 20% paved, 60% gravel, and then what?
The rest.
The rest is single track.
But what kind of single track?
Yeah.
We're talking rowdy, North Georgia, chunky, rooty, rocky.
Slippery.
Basically, you don't get any relief on the single track when you're going down. You need all your focus. So after doing climbs all day, you can't just relax.
I told very few people about this race that I was doing it because I feel like no one really has even the context of what it's really like. And even after the fact, it was really, really hard to explain. But they basically send you through the hardest parts of Georgia from South Carolina all the way to Alabama.
Yep.
And they send you on the hardest, craziest, most scenic trip.
It's relentless climb after relentless climb after relentless climb the whole way until the last 30 miles. And it's the adventure part is not just the trails. I mean, they had to reroute the TNGA last minute because someone got shot at in the middle of nowhere, like rural Georgia.
That's crazy.
I mean, when we were on the trail, rangers were asking us if we had seen a missing person, a woman wearing a yellow dress
In the Cohutto wilderness, right?
Yeah.
You know why I didn't tell a lot of people I was doing this race?
Why?
Because I wasn't sure I was going to finish. And I didn't want to go back to them and tell them that I quit.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I definitely told some people, but I wasn't shouting at the rooftops like, "Hey, I'm doing this."
Yeah.
I was actually like giving people percentages. The two people I told before, I'm like, there's a 10% chance that I finish this race. Just setting the expectations low. And then we did one training overnighter, like was like 100 miles.
Right.
After we finished that, I was like, all right, if I can go 45 miles on day 2 with no sleep, now I have a 20% chance to finish this race.
As we trained for this, I was less and less sure that I would finish.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
It got worse.
But
And this is just a crazy journey of how to get there, but we have a ton of crazy stories
100%.
along the way. And that's what we're going to talk about today, right?
Yeah, story highlights of the TNGA 2024.
2024.
Have you guys ever heard that bears can run fast?
Of course.
Sure.
They say you can't outrun them.
Have you seen that in person?
I've seen him scurry a little bit, but I think you saw a scared bear.
I scared a bear.
You scared a bear.
So we were going down a descent. I don't remember what descent this was because it's all kind of a blur. But we were going down probably 30 miles an hour, single track descent. We were just smashing it. And all of a sudden, and you know how it is for you riders, when you're going down a descent, you pay attention to what doesn't kill you.
About 20 feet ahead.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you check your line.
Yeah. And of course, our bikes had 40 pounds of gear on them.
Yeah.
So stuff's rattling, stuff's going everywhere. You're looking down to make sure you have all your gear occasionally. Mm-hmm. And then you're just making sure you don't hit a rock and die.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm super focused. I'm tired from the last whatever climb we did and just flying. And then all of a sudden, this bear had to be going 40 miles an hour. We were going
that fast.
I mean, it was so fast. We were going straight down a mountain. It was so fast that Jonathan was right behind me. And by the time he caught up, bear was gone.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it either.
Yeah. So
I think I heard
the story could be made up, guys. We don't know.
Oh, no.
Brian's the only one that saw it.
I definitely, because
So did it run up the hill or down the hill?
it was going down the hill so fast.
And it was probably, you said, a juvenile, right? It wasn't a cub, but it wasn't
Exactly.
full grown.
So my immediate thought after this bear, probably 20 feet in front of me, because I'm just riding, and then out of nowhere, a bear comes right in front of me. And so my immediate thought was, well, it's not a baby bear, but it's still a cub bear. So mama bear. And I scared the crap out of this bear.
Yeah.
So little bear is going to go tell mama bear to come back and beat the crap out of me. So that's where my mind went.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there. As soon as I saw the bear run across, slam on the brakes, and I start screaming, "Hey, bear!" Because I watch Alone,
Yeah.
the show.
That's what everyone does on Alone. Hey, bear.
That's
hey,
what they
bear.
do. When you think you see a bear, you just scream really loud and hopefully scare it.
Not that our hubs weren't screaming, but
Yeah. So I just start screaming, "Hey, bear! Hey, bear!" And then they're like, y'all are like, "What? I'm like, "No, that was a bear."
yeah.
But I tell you what,
Was it Stanley Gap?
maybe
Okay.
it was one of the early descents.
Gotcha.
But I'd rather almost hit a bear than what you experienced, Brian.
Oh God, really? We're going there.
Yeah, this was,
Day 4.
we were near Bear Creek,
So
the top of Bear Creek.
yeah, so day 4, and this is actually kind of crazy because we had some things planned on this trip. Everything changes. You try to plan for something, but like where you're going to stay, where you're going to sleep, how far you're going to go. And we've always overestimated how far we could go, or we underestimated.
Yes.
Because day 4 was insane. It was the longest ride we've ever done in our lives. I think that day we did 88 miles total.
Hard miles.
Hard
Yeah,
miles
hard.
and over 10,000 feet. I don't remember the exact amount.
Over 10,000 elevation.
We started at 6 a.m. and finished at 2 a.m. that day.
Yeah. So it was like 18 hours of riding that day.
Yeah.
So halfway through the day, I got to take like a massive poop because I just when you're eating so much food, you just have to poop all the time because you're expending so much energy. So we decided to take a nap at the top of Bear Creek. And you guys were both like sleeping, and I'm like, I think we kind of waking up, and I'm like, all right, I got to go take a poop. So I find this perfect poop log, okay? I go out into the woods, and we're all wearing these spandex bibs. They're
Right.
like onesies for dudes. I don't know. And
It's to reduce friction if you're not a
But you
rider.
can't poop unless you take off the whole thing. So I'm on a log, butt naked, in the woods.
Spandex around your ankles.
Spandex around my ankles, taking a shit, and all of a sudden, I look over to my left, literally 2 feet away. There's a snake all propped up, just looking at me.
Staring.
Coiled up.
And I just
It's
yell,
not a good
"Oh,
sign."
fuck." I just yell. They hear me and they're like, what's going on? I'm like, there's a snake. And now I'm like trying to stay calm because I don't know what kind of snake it is.
Right.
And, I'm just like, I had to finish my poop.
Right. Yeah. You're
I was mid-poop.
you're taking care of business.
And then now, the hardest part was I have to wipe. Hindsight, because wiping requires movements, and it required me looking away from the snake. I did not want to break eye contact with the snake, but I had to check. So, anyways, finish wiping up, going as slow as I can, and I had my phone with me because who can take a shit without their phone? I don't know. That's just
Yeah, it's part of-
2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't. It's like going to the bathroom without magazines, And so I take my phone, I snap a quick picture,
We'll post it here.
just in case I get bit trying to
Get away.
slowly get away.
Yeah, that's Snake 101.
'Cause you're
Take
within-
a picture so that way if you get bit, they know what bit you.
I didn't even know that. Apparently, they don't even treat you in the hospital, or they're scared to treat you unless you're 100% sure. Because if they give you the wrong antivenom, it could have an adverse, effect on you. So,
You did the right thing without realizing it.
I didn't even ask anybody what the snake was until we were in the ride back in the van, and that's when I found out that it was a copperhead.
It was a copperhead.
It was a copperhead.
It was kind of a smaller one too, which I think is
Worse.
more dangerous because they're less able to control how much venom they
Yeah, that's
inject.
Yeah.
But
If
let's
they're-
be honest. You would have had the most epic TNGA tap out story if you got scared, slipped, fell in your crap, and then a snake bit you and you had to tap out. You would have been the legendary tap out man for the rest of all history.
Yeah, if I survived.
No, you would have survived.
Yeah, can you survive copperheads? I mean,
Yeah,
I guess.
100%.
100% minus all the people that died from copperhead bites.
Just imagine people
90%.
trying to take care of me with my bib at my ankles and shit all over me.
Hey, we would have pulled your bibs up for you.
Oh, God.
We wouldn't have let that happen.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
What's worse than a copperhead 2 feet away? Maybe not worse, but equally as bad as a copperhead 2 feet away when you're in the woods at night.
Meth heads?
You're saying that like you're not sure. I am very sure that that's equally as bad.
Yeah, this was, the whole time we were on this thing, it was an adventure, right? And you're in that headspace, like, oh, we're on an adventure.
Endorphins.
Yeah, endorphins.
Excited.
So then we make it to this podunk area of Georgia, past Dalton, west of Dalton. And we're on the gravel road, and this woman's walking by with the motorcycle helmet on. It's probably, 9 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
And a folding table.
Full face motorcycle
helmet, folding table. And Brian, my brother, because they're both Brian, is like, hey, are you all right? And she just starts going off, right?
Yeah.
She's got the story ready, locked and loaded. She's like, my husband and my husband's brother came, and this happened, and they ran off, and I don't know where they went, and I'm not staying in this shit, and just started rattling off. And then the story is like, you don't want to go in these woods. You want to stay close to the major highways. She's like, there's meth heads out there. They're crazy. She's like, there's bodies in the river. That's basically how she ended it.
Yeah.
Dead serious. She looked at us. She was like, there's bodies in the creek, or there's bodies in the river, something like that. And it's like, she took me out of the adventure into like, oh, I'm in the woods with a bunch of meth heads.
Yeah, it was a big change.
It was a very big change.
And that was like, with us three being together, it was fine. But I just imagine, like, if you're by yourself, it would have really freaked me out. It freaked me out a little bit, don't get me wrong. But if I was by myself, I would have been like, I got to get the fuck out of here.
She had scabs all over her face. Like, she literally looked like a zombie in the woods.
It's the fact that she ended with bodies in the river.
And note, the river that
we're crossing.
Water in.
Because we were running out of water. Because we were about to do. So what makes this more intense is we were just about to do 15 miles in the woods in the dark.
Yeah.
She told us this right before our next checkpoint. We were going to do 15 miles, single track in the woods in the dark.
Yeah.
With the spiders.
Yeah. Lots of spiders.
And is, so then our mentality was, and this was kind of at a base, there was like a little turnaround spot, gravel turnaround spot. There was just chairs and trash everywhere. And then, so we were like, and then she's like, when my boyfriend comes back, we were kind of glad that it was just her. What's worse than one meth head is like coming on a group.
She
camp of meth
asked us for our flashlights too. She's like, you have an extra flashlight? I'm like,
no.
I'm doing 15 miles in the woods in the dark.
Remember
Sorry.
when I tried to give her advice?
Oh my gosh, that was my favorite. Brian was like, just, if I were you, I'd just leave this table in the bushes somewhere and come back later.
Because she looked like she was struggling. She's like carrying a table.
Big bag of stuff, and she had the table, and Brian's like giving her life advice.
Yeah, I was like, if I was you, I would just like hide the table in the bushes, and then you can like hike to the road a little easier.
Yeah, what she needed was a flashlight, and what she got was Brian's advice on how to manage.
But like,
she probably thought I wanted to steal the table.
I'm not trying to be mean, but like, I'm not giving up a flashlight because we're on the TNGA. I'm out here on my. Yeah. We only have our bikes.
We have exactly what we need to finish the race.
Yeah.
So after that, it was a weird area, and she said like people coming back, and then so then we're like, okay, we're filtering our water. She walks away, and then we hear a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we're filtering
at
water.
this point,
and it takes us 20 minutes to filter water because we knew we weren't going to have access to water for a while, so we really needed to.
We're filling up.
So we're sitting there, and then we hear a car, and then we remember her story about dead bodies, and we're like, we got to get out of here.
I just imagine her. This is the story I painted. True or false, right?
Right.
That her husband or whatever, if he even existed, comes back and she's like, "These motherfuckers give me a flashlight." That's exactly where my head went.
Try to steal my table.
Yeah, or something crazy, and then he comes zooming down 50 miles an hour on the gravel road, like, "Hey, we need a flashlight." I'm like, I'm not trying to do that because we're weak, right? Not weak, but we're tired.
Yeah.
Your body's exhausted, and you don't really feel like you're at your full. If you had to defend yourself, you feel vulnerable because you've already been riding from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And your body's tired. So the thought of like a physical altercation is more intense to think about.
Well, and I noticed on her bag there was one of those little stake hammering hammers.
Yeah.
And it was right there on the side of her bag. That's the first thing I noticed because I was like, I saw her bag and then I saw that and I was like, if she just charged or through that.
Yeah.
Getting hit in the nose with a hammer,
Yeah.
that would suck. So anyway,
It's more intense because, well, for one, like you've been riding all day.
Yeah.
You're about to do 15
this is
miles.
like day 5 for us, so we're tired. Overall.
You're tired.
Yeah.
You're exhausted. You've been riding for 4.5 days.
Yeah.
You're about to do 15 miles in the dark in meth country in Georgia. And it's just not the story you want to hear right before you start.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is we're like, all right, we had a giant climb to go up.
Yeah,
So we're like, no meth head's going to make it up this climb. So we're like, let's freaking go.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
get up the mountain as quick as possible.
And what's crazy about
Then we saw
that,
2 more people.
and then
we found a
as
couple
soon
more
as you
people
got
on
to the
drugs.
top, I
Yeah.
know. So Jonathan with his freaking Superman thighs and calves would just, we're pushing the bike up on some of these
Yeah.
climbs because you're straight up on a single track.
Yeah.
And it's steep and it's rowdy and it's like,
So Jonathan's ahead of us. Me and Brian are like, pushing our bike up. He's at the top. And as soon as I get to Jonathan, I get next to him and he goes, there's 2 dudes in a truck to the left. 2 dudes to the truck to the left. And I'm like, and I look over and we have headlamps on. So everywhere you look, you pretty much shine a spotlight into the darkness, the abyss of the woods.
Yeah.
So I look to the left and right spotlight, right on a truck or a car.
it was probably like a 2010 Chrysler Town and Country or something like that.
Oh, yeah. What says doing drugs in the woods like a
But
2010 Chrysler?
The one dude was kind of like, like doing this number,
Yeah.
kind of not fully in it.
And
It was weird.
And so I'm like, I quickly move my headlamp back because I'm like, I don't want to call attention. They're obviously way, way zoned out right now. And then Brian catches up and we're like, is this the right turn? Yes. Phew.
I didn't even know about this. So
Yeah,
I was last. So apparently I was just ready to be abducted.
By the time you got there, we were just leaving. We didn't even tell you they
Yeah.
were there.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, after all that, you appropriately termed that section of the Pinhodies
The meth-hodies.
the Meth-hodies.
Yeah. So the Pinhoti Trail turns out goes a lot longer than I knew because we've ridden a few of them. But it starts off in this beautiful North Georgia, like amazing areas, and then turns into the meth-hodies. Probably around what number was that? It goes like Pinhoti 1,
There's
2,
no more
3.
numbers after 6. It's just
So
Pinhodies all the way to
Pinhoti.
Alabama.
Oh, so after
Yeah.
Pinhoti 6 is the meth-hodies.
But what was so wonderful after that long night was the stay
In the Roach Motel.
in our Roach Motel. So,
This is the true crime documentary
Yeah.
type motel.
if you've watched any true crime episode or any shows like that and a crime happened in a motel, this was that motel.
$60 flat. This is how you know it's sketchy. It's not even like $60.45
plus tax.
It's
No
like
tax.
$60 even.
So it's like what,
Per
1 in
night.
the morning,
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 in the morning. We've been riding all day on the toughest section of the entire 365 miles. We're tired.
That's when we did the snake.
Yeah, that was
Oh
the
gosh,
snake.
yeah.
The snake plus. We did the snake that morning or that
Oh,
day.
yeah.
It is. Yeah, we
And
left
then
we left
continue
Dalton.
riding.
This day we left Dalton, did the snake. If you know Georgia, you know that trail. It's
It's one of the toughest.
it's rocky.
Yeah, sections of.
And then
of
we
single
did the
track.
meth-hodies, and then we made it to the Roach Motel.
Yeah, so it's like 1 in the morning. It was a perfect. It's in Summersville, Georgia. There's absolutely nothing there but a couple gas stations and a motel. It's late, and it's about 1.5 miles off our 365 miles of trail. Turn left, descend down, and we show up, ring a doorbell, and of course you wake up the owner.
Yeah.
And after about 7 minutes of anticipating, will we have a room or not, they show up, slide the window open,
Yep.
and they're like, can we help you?
You know what they asked? Do we have pets?
That was the first question?
Yeah.
Because they were worried about the pets in the room?
They asked me on the phone when I talked to them, and they asked me in person about the pets.
That's a weird question.
I don't think a pet's going to make your Roach Motel look any worse because it's like water-stained walls. The trim is broken.
No mirror in the bathroom.
No mirror in the
Mirror's
bathroom.
gone.
The
Lamps.
shower, the lamp is crooked. The shower spigot thing doesn't even come out in the middle of the tub. It's off over here at a
Yes.
weird angle coming out of the wall.
And remember the toilet? The toilet was about 3 inches from the wall. So you kind of had to poop sideways to even use the toilet.
Oh, and the
appropriately.
towels, the clean towels.
Oh, didn't have
disgusting.
They
didn't have
smelled-
towels in
they
the room.
smelled terrible.
We obviously had to take a shower because we were riding all day. So I go up, ring the doorbell again. I'm like, hey, we need some towels. And the sweet lady is like, oh, okay. Hands me towels. And the first thing I notice,
They're supposed to be white.
they're supposed to be white,
they're not
but
white
they're like a
anymore.
leopard print
They're-
towel because of the dirt stain.
They're not even off-white anymore. They're like gray.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so disgusting.
But did we sleep?
Oh, I slept great.
I slept like a baby.
I slept amazing.
Yeah.
yeah,
It
was definitely worth, I guess, the 1.5 mile off trail because it was before the last day.
Yeah.
you know?
And
so,
we were tired.
Yeah.
And the shower was good water pressure.
It was warm.
Hot water.
and that's all that matters.
And
And I didn't get athlete's foot from it.
yeah,
we didn't get any diseases that we know of.
not at all. Man.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, for some reason, out of all the snake encounters,
Yeah.
you happen to attract them all.
I know, and I hate snakes. That's probably why
You were the one. You said it.
That's
you were
why
like,
I
I
attract
hate
them all."
snakes. And then you almost hit, honestly, one of the biggest rattlesnakes I've ever seen in person.
Dude, that thing was gnarly. And here's the thing. It was during one of the craziest descents. It was down Hickory Nut going into Helen. And there's, like we said earlier, you're trying to scout your line. Like
Yeah.
when you're like the bear, you're just trying to
Right.
look where you're going to go. I don't see this rattlesnake until the last second. I literally swerve out of the way of its rattler, 2 inches, my tire missed it. But here's the thing is I had to swerve off into giant chunky rocks,
This-
so I almost ate it trying to dodge the rattlesnake.
Yeah.
And it didn't move. It just
It
stayed
didn't
there.
care.
Yeah.
You even tried to move it.
Right. This descent particularly seemed like a drainage, like a gravel or a rocky drainage ditch
Yeah.
for like 3 miles downhill or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I tried to move the snake, like, say whatever you want. Maybe I have a soft spot for animals, but I tried to move it so it didn't get run over. But
Oh,
he
so
didn't-
you didn't do it so the next person wouldn't die by the snake. You just wanted to.
You did it on behalf of the snake.
did it
I did it for
snake.
both, right? But he didn't give a shit. That snake didn't care. He didn't want to move.
Yeah.
He was like, I got a spot. I'm chilling.
Yeah.
And
This is
I'm
my
like,
house.
I'm trying to get the snake to move. It moved a little bit.
I didn't even know rattlesnakes really existed in Georgia until
So-
we did our last trip with the rattlesnake that we saw.
I
Yeah.
didn't either because I hadn't seen one. I've seen plenty of water moccasins and copperheads and rat snakes and all that. But I looked it up. There's 3 varieties, turns out. But we keep seeing the Timberland rattlesnake.
Gotcha.
For those people who care about snakes. But
This was a big one.
we've seen a couple now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to get him to move. The snake didn't care, man. He was like, I'm the boss of this trail, bro.
Well, speaking of descents, one thing that I thought was absolutely incredible and one of the highest adrenaline moments for me was what, bro?
We did a descent on the road, right? We're mountain bikers. So
Yeah.
for the roadies out there, that you're probably used to this.
Oh, Hogpen
But
Gap.
Hogpen
Yeah.
Gap. It's a curvy. What was it
Just
like?
Typical mountain road,
Like
you know?
like 10% grade or something. I don't even
Probably
know.
more, 12.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we checked the Strava and we went about 50 miles an hour on this descent.
On mountain
But
bikes.
here's what's interesting because I talked to a couple of people on the TNGA about this descent, and all of them imagined their worst case scenario before going down. So this
Oh,
is
yeah.
a pretty common, right? So I imagine a brake failure. Like, what do you do if you're going 50 miles an hour and you have a brake failure? And they were imagining like their wheels blowing up. The people I talked to, because
funny.
they got to the bottom and they had loose spokes.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was imagining my, we have all these straps. I was just imagining one of those straps going in the front wheel.
And
So-
just 30-foot
Yeah.
projectile into the
How
pavement.
funny is this that everyone I talk to imagines a worst case scenario before the biggest road descent
Of
on
the
the
entire
TNGA?
TNGA.
I was doing it during it.
Same.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, I imagine a full blown brake failure, but
You could see brake dust coming off, couldn't you, bro?
that was a different area. But yes, like you're moving for mountain bikers. It's a different experience.
Yeah.
It's visceral to go 50 miles an hour on a road, and it's curvy.
Yeah.
So you're like trying to hit these turns and like you just look at the guardrail. I was, and I'm just imagining what happens as you're in the middle of the descent. What happens if you hit a guardrail at 50 miles an hour and you fly in the woods?
Yep.
You hit a tree and you're dead.
You're dead. I was very grateful I had quality life insurance at that moment.
It's a different experience.
It really is.
It really is. It's scary.
I'm
not gonna lie.
For me, it wasn't fun. It wasn't like, wee.
It's one thing when it's straight and you see like how it ends.
Yeah.
But when it's curvy like this, man,
This was like, I'm going to go 50
it's visceral, right?
because I'm ready to keep
You want to
going.
use your momentum.
This is
Yeah.
but this is what's interesting about the TNGA. It's all of these things.
Yeah.
It's like a crazy road descent, a crazy climb, a crazy single track.
Yeah.
Meth-headies, people getting shot
Crossing creeks and rivers
Creeks
over and over again, like nonstop.
So you get a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, just when you think you kind of got it figured out, it throws
There's-
something else at you.
Oh, and then you get to the spiders, at the end.
Oh, night riding. If you night ride and you hate spiders, do not be in the front.
I hate spiders, but I'm starting to get immune to it now. I had so many spiders living in this beard, I don't even know what to do.
It just gets to the point where you're so tired of stopping to like worry about spiders, you just start saying,
Yeah.
I'm going to just keep going, whatever.
We had a good system going because it was like whoever was in the front was like left,
Yeah,
and
we're like dodging spiders.
dodging spiders.
Spider right, spider left.
And this is like this isn't like see a spider on the wall. This is like it's pitch black. You have a headlamp on, and all you see is a spotlight on a spider web
Oh, I think
that
they're-
looks like it would consume you. And then there's
I think
like
they're orb weavers is what they're called.
yeah, a 2-inch, 3-inch spider, dead center of the spider web, and you have a choice. You're either gonna go through it and know that spider is gonna
Be on you somewhere.
be on you and you're its new home, or you're gonna stop.
But eventually you just get so tired of stopping because you've been riding
Yeah.
all day.
Then you just hope that the spiders just descend out of your beard.
Yeah.
You just hope they want to get
That's
out
what's
of there.
funny about an endurance thing like this. You get so tired of stopping sometimes, and you're just ready to keep going.
Yeah, that's like some of the single track descents that were. I mean, I was flowing and going faster with a full kitted out bike on some of these descents than I do on my full suspension, like single day rides because I was just so ready to get to the next checkpoint.
It's true.
We were not taking it easy.
Not at
on the
all.
downs.
At
And-
all.
Which is surprising because we didn't blow out a single tire on the whole
The
journey.
entire journey.
Yeah.
You know how many
No
times I
tires,
thought
just-
it, but I didn't want to say it to
Yeah,
anybody?
Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
same. It was
Yeah.
on my mind constantly.
Yeah.
And not only that, I'm running higher tire pressure because I want to be more efficient on all these
too.
climbs.
Yeah.
So, you're weighing your options, right?
Yeah.
But like normally I run like what, 20 something, 22, 23.
I run 18.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I was
running 30.
I went straight to 30.
I was
So
running
like,
28, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
There
But you
was-
just keep going.
there was one cool moment, quick tangent, as if this isn't a whole tangent fest. We've been riding for days, but I was on a descent and we've been on the bike so much. I was so dialed in on the descent, looking at my line, I felt like I almost could see into the future. I'm not even kidding. I don't know if this
Yeah.
happened to you guys, but it's because your life is on the bike for 6 days or 5
Oh,
days.
yeah.
Right.
And so like you're so used to it. I was so dialed in.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the rocks and I see almost like visually see a line I'm supposed to
You're
take.
like those
to the
karate
point where
movies.
it was
where
like
the
Neo.
person- Yeah, yeah.
No, it was like Neo in the Matrix where I
Yeah.
saw the pattern or I
Yeah.
saw and I saw it. And I was almost like, and we're going like 30 miles an hour
Yeah.
downhill on the rocks. And I'm almost ahead. I'm almost like 2 seconds in the future of knowing what to do.
When you're in that zombie state, it's weird because I didn't experience I'm ahead. I just felt like I was going down a descent rocky cloud. And I was just like, I wasn't even part of my bike.
You were one?
I was off the ground. I was just floating down that mountain like a ghost, man. Like that's the way I was so tired sometimes in such a zombie state.
Yeah.
I just felt like a ghost flying down through the
That's
woods
what's
in the middle of the
interesting.
night.
That's what I kind of love And what's so interesting about the TNGA is hitting these descents and at night when you're so tired, but having to focus at the same time. You enter these mind these head spaces that aren't normal for you.
No,
right?
not at all.
It's like an alternate universe almost.
Yeah.
I entered that state in the climbs because I did not want to think about the climbs, and I'd wake back up on the descents. But sometimes I would just catch myself just going, because the majority of this thing is you're just going up the whole time. And so sometimes I would just completely zombie out and just forget where I even was. Yeah. And I would just to keep going. But it was kind of refreshing because it's like, oh, it didn't even happen.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah, managing the climbs was pretty fun. Because sometimes, like for me, it's just, you see, like based on our trackers, you could see our GPSs that it was like 1,800 feet of climb, which for us, we were averaging anywhere from 50 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes per 1,000 feet.
When we were fresh.
Yeah, when we were fresh. So you knew you had a couple hours of just nonstop 10 to 15% grade.
Some are so steep and rocky or rooty, you push the bike. So those take longer.
And then you're just one step, and then just the whole world completely disappears. And the only thing that exists for you in that moment is the next step.
That's the only way I think I was able to finish this, because there was a start point and an end point.
Yeah.
And we had to get there, and I already made it up in my mind that I want to get there. And so the only thing that you could do to get there is keep going. What was the phrase that we...
the sooner you get it done, or the sooner you do it, the sooner it's done.
The sooner you do it, the sooner it's done.
Yeah.
I will say, by day 2, I think, I knew without a doubt we were going to finish.
Yeah.
By like the end of day 2. It was like, okay, we're in it, and I see it, and I understand it a little more.
Yeah.
But...
Well, what's cool about our bodies is like the first day was, I think, 7,000 feet of elevation. So like you start at 8 a.m., there's 80 people on a bridge. We're all excited. We go. The first thing you do is climb. But like if for any of you bikers or any exercise, like, a few minutes into the exercise, you're like, oh, this is hard. But it was like, you were like, our bodies got to a point to where it's like, oh, this is hard. Oh, this is going to be my life for the next 6 days, so who cares?
Yeah.
And then you're just like...
You hit your stride, I guess.
You just keep
so
going.
So to speak.
Yeah, and fortunately for us, it never really got worse than it did in the first 2 hours. It was just hard.
Yeah.
For 6 days.
Yeah,
but we did it.
I think we oftentimes would overestimate what our bodies could do, because we were like, oh, we're going to do... 80 miles today, and we'd do 50, and the time that we thought we would do 80, and we're like, oh my God. But then there's other times, like kind of to your point, is we completely underestimate what we could do. Like, oh, we thought it was going to be so hard, but we just rode 18 hours. I didn't even know I could do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, so sometimes it's just really weird how, you go back and forth. And some of the best advice that, people gave us before the race was, you're going to have highs and you're going to have lows, but they're both going to pass or something like that.
They're going to change.
Yeah.
It's going to change. Like, you're going to have a high, but that's going to leave in very soon. You're going to have a really low, but that's going to pass too. You just got to keep going.
It's always temporary.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if you feel absolutely terrible, it's temporary.
Yeah.
Some of the other best advice that I got too was small problems turn into big problems.
Yeah. That was great advice.
Who said that again?
From Kate from Mulberry.
Oh my gosh.
She said, small problems turn into big problems. Address it immediately.
And that stuck with us. We mentioned it so many times, but it's so true. Like, even if I had like a rock, a pebble in my shoe, and I'm like,
take care of it.
Take care of it, because sometimes it's easy to get in the zone and just ride for hours and hours, and you just never know. Same thing with the chamois butter.
Yes.
Several of the top people had to quit because the first day we had a crazy thunderstorm. It just dumped on us.
Yeah.
And some of the hardest, riding riders, which could do it probably twice as fast as we can, had to quit because their ass was raw.
Yeah.
Right. Because it rained and there was more chafing, and they didn't do enough butter.
Yeah.
And so small problems turn into big problems, right? Because it's easy to get in the zone and just say, I'll deal with it later.
Yeah.
And then boom. Later happens.
That works on a one-day race. That
Yeah.
does not work on 365 miles.
Yeah. We were adding chamois butter. If you even know chamois butter.
Jonathan's addicted. He
Yeah.
still does it every day now.
It's lotion for your butt because you're in the saddle all day.
It's absolutely necessary to reduce friction.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So it's like for where you are on the saddle, but also for me where the legs rub. Like
Yeah.
anywhere where there's any friction, you're adding the chamois butter.
And we took that advice to heart, and we buttered up every stop.
We buttered up constantly.
And honestly, I had no sores.
Same.
I mean, I did. I was kind of light on the butter early on.
See?
But somehow I was able to survive after I got some pretty bad, sores with the butter. It's like it fixed it really,
Yeah.
which is shocking.
Honestly, there's, when you're doing an endurance race, you got to really look at what are pleasurable moments. And slathering your gooch and your butt and your entire junk with shea butter is not a bad experience.
I mean, yeah, it's part of it. It's necessary.
So
It
honestly,
just becomes as normal as like drinking water.
yeah, you're like, drink water, slather all of your undercarriage.
Yeah, 100%.
Eat a fig bar and keep going.
Absolutely.
Do you
And
wipe
that's
your
the-
hands before you eat the fig bar?
It
Depends on where
depends on
we're-
how tired I was.
Depends on where we're at.
Yeah, if there was a creek, wash your hands. If not, you just kind of deal with it.
Talking about highlights, one of my favorite moments on the TNGA, because I'm a logistics guy and I love when things come together, right? So we are at the top of Stanley Gap and it's starting to get dark. Like we're about to crush a crazy descent before sunset.
Yeah.
And we're like, where we're going, there's no food. There's no place close. There's no gas station. Like along the route, sometimes there's some good places to stop. But where we're going, there was not.
And we've been riding all day.
So we had service at the top of the hill. We're like, when we get to the top, we know we're going to have some service.
Yep.
So we're like, let's call a restaurant and see if they will deliver to us, where we're going to stay for the night. And then all of a sudden, we get there and we're like, all right, let's do it. So Jonathan, he calls this, I guess it was a pizza place.
Yeah. We won't name it because the guy said we don't deliver, so don't leave a review
Yeah.
saying that we deliver.
Yeah, so we call this pizza place and we're like, do you guys deliver? And they're like, no. And we're like, okay, I'm like in the back, we're like suffering, right? We're like desperate. I'm like, ask him if he'll deliver. Ask him if Jonathan, and like Jonathan's like, all right, I want to ask him. So he asks the guy if he'll deliver, and he's like,
After work.
He's like, no, I can't. I'm stuck here
I'm
until
the only one here.
8:30.
Yeah, he said I'm the only one here.
Yeah.
So I can't deliver it for you.
Right.
I'm like, well, we're
That's
not gonna
perfect.
be we're not gonna be done till like 8:45, 9 o'clock anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, we'll give you whatever X amount of dollars if you just after work you deliver it to us.
Yeah, we said we'll give you a $25 tip if you can deliver us some pizza. So
It's about a
we ordered
14-minute drive for him.
We ordered like 4 subs, a pizza, a salad, and we're like, all right, but now the pressure's on.
Yes.
We have to get down this descent and get to this guy by 8:30 because if he can't find us, we might not have service.
Oh yeah.
And so we just crushed
The
that
thought
descent.
of
Yeah.
missing out on that freaking chicken
parm
parm
sub.
sub.
Oh, gosh.
That's
And believe it or not, to the minute, we literally get there at 8:30. I was suffering. Me and Jonathan were suffering in the back at one point, and Brian was like, I'm not missing the pizza. And so he's just like,
I was on a mission.
he's on a mission to get there. And sure enough, we get there, and the guy literally is pulling down some road. He's kind of lost. He doesn't know how to get to where we're staying.
but he just got there.
But he saw us on the bike. He's like, are you the guys? And we're like, we're the guys. Please,
Oh,
pizza.
man. It couldn't have been more perfect. He made our food, closed up shop, delivered it, and met us in a no-service neighborhood out in the middle of nowhere on the top of a hill, 3 dudes on bikes.
Yeah.
And then followed us to our Airbnb, delivered the food. We gave him double what we said we were
Yeah,
going
give him
to.
$40.
Yeah. And
he
then
earned
we
it.
ate like kings.
Absolutely. You need 'cause
Epic.
You need
Epic.
the carbs. You need the carbs to keep
Oh
going.
my gosh. So whoever I call him the delivery angel. I don't even know if he was a real human. He might have descended from a different realm
Just for us.
just for us in that moment, because it couldn't have, the only restaurant open, the only restaurant that someone answered the phone and said yes to delivering to strangers in a random neighborhood.
Yeah.
Opposite of where he had to go home.
Opposite, and
Yeah.
then literally couldn't talk to us because we had no cell service and found us at the top of a hill. That's divine, in my opinion.
That's the TNGA.
That's the TNGA.
Trail magic.
Trail
So-
magic.
I have one question.
What is it?
Would you do it again?
It's such a good question
I'll
because
let you take it first, Jonathan.
I honestly don't know yet. Because like it's funny, on day maybe like 2 or 3, Brian was like already talking about the next time and strategy and this and that. But by the end of the TNGA, you were like
On the snake?
on the snake. You're like, I don't know if I will do it next year.
Yeah. Snake was a low point.
So I can honestly say I don't know.
In the middle of it, it was like honestly a no for me. I was like, nah, I don't need to do this again. Would I do it again? God, with the right people, with some good guys, that were doing it, maybe. But I would much rather tackle another adventure. I would like to do something like this again, 100%. Would I do this race again? I don't know.
Yeah.
To be determined.
Yeah, I'd say our strategy this time around was just to finish within the 7-day window. We did finish a day and a half early, so that's awesome. We stayed
5 days, 10 hours, and 29 minutes.
Yep. We stayed in Airbnbs so we could shower, sleep well.
Which is a huge morale boost. So if we were
Phenomenal.
if we were gonna do it again, we have to do it
Pure
camping.
camping.
One potential way to do it is to
Camp only.
camp only.
And then maybe only stay in a hotel in Dalton.
Yeah, or really train hard and try to be like the reptilian humanoids and finish in 3 days or less. And just go.
Ride for 30 hours straight.
Yeah, sleep for a couple hours and then just keep hitting the trail.
I wonder if those guys have catheters or
I
something.
would like to try that one time.
Yeah.
Because because even if you fail, like you've done it before.
Yeah, you just slow down.
So at least you tried to do give 100% max effort.
Yeah.
Which I think we did during this. Like we kind of at one point we kind of felt like okay, this is almost like not too easy because it was crazy, right?
Yeah.
But we're still sleeping 6 hours.
Yeah.
We're not like pushing ourselves to the max.
Yeah.
But that one day we didn't want to do that like day 1.
Right.
But day 4 we did that.
Yeah.
We rode 18 hours and through some of the hardest trails.
And when I woke up, I felt like I got hit by a freaking truck.
Oh,
Yeah.
destroyed.
I'm not gonna lie. There's no
Felt
sugarcoating it.
destroyed.
Felt destroyed.
Yeah.
And it takes caffeine, and we went to the grocery store, and I'm drinking like juices and
Yeah.
turmeric shots and stuff, and I'm like,
Just to come back to life.
whatever I can to feel normal again.
I was standing in the middle of the grocery store in the produce section. I had a dirty shirt. My hair looked insane. I'm just sitting there staring at the wall, and all of a sudden I hear this lady say, "Are you okay?" And I honestly didn't know how to answer. I was like, "No." And she's like, "Well, how can I help you?" I'm just like, "Don't know things." And I just walked away. Like I was just like,
And then you came out to us and you're like, where did you get that? And we were like, right there in the veggie section, produce section.
You're like, "That's
and
where
you were
I
like,
was."
that's where I was standing. And I got confused and just walked out. Yeah, that was Dalton. Yeah, I think for me, definitely would do it again. Probably just a different flavor of it. The camaraderie, the people we met along the way was absolutely cool. And then we already have some plans to do a nice long 300 miles in the Pisgahs, which I think will be super cool because the Pisgahs are going to have more summits and views,
Nice.
higher elevation.
and we're
then
definitely camping on that one.
definitely camping on that one, so that'll be cool. And then we all have our eye on what I believe to be the echelon of bikepacking routes in the United States, and that's the Colorado Trail. 14,000 feet elevation peak.
Right, so you're not breathing very well.
You're not breathing very well, but the views.
Over 500 miles, I think it's like 550 miles, over 75,000 feet of elevation.
Yeah,
It's going to definitely take over a week.
yeah. So that's going to be what we work up to maybe and do next year.
Maybe we film that one.
Yeah, make it even harder.
Make it harder.
So yeah, that's a wrap. Any
That's the
final thoughts?
TNGA.
That's the TNGA 2024.